Hello and welcome to the HR Kyle podcast, the ultimate resource for HR insights and guidance that will empower both seasoned business professionals and eager job seekers. I'm HR Kyle, your host. I'm excited to embark on this journey with you. In each episode, we'll delve into the intricacies of HR management, uncovering strategies that can transform the way you approach talent acquisition, employee engagement, and workplace dynamics. Whether you're a seasoned HR pro navigating the ever-evolving landscape of human resources or a job seeker striving to land your dream position, this podcast is your compass. Our mission is simple: to provide you with actionable knowledge, expert interviews, and inspiring stories that will help you thrive in the world of HR. So, sit back, relax, and get ready to take your HR game to the next level. Welcome to the HR Kyle podcast, where HR meets success. Hello and welcome to another episode of the HR Kyle podcast, where we explore the dynamic world of human resources and career journeys. I'm your host, HR Kyle, and we have a fantastic episode lined up for you today. In segment 1, I'm stepping into the interviewee spotlight. You've sent in your questions, and today I'll be sharing some insights into my own journey and experiences. But wait, it doesn't end there. In segment 2, we have a special guest, a high school senior sharing their perspective on what job searching looks like from the lens of a budding professional. Before we dive into these enriching conversations, let's take a quick break. Grab your favorite beverage, stretch those legs, and get ready for a podcast filled with valuable insights, experiences, and a fresh take on the world of work. Stay tuned. Are you a business owner looking to build a thriving team? Or perhaps a job seeker on a quest for your dream career? Look no further than HR Kyle. HR Kyle is your trusted partner for all things human resources. We're not just about services, we're about success. For businesses, HR Kyle offers tailored HR solutions from talent acquisition to compliance support. We're here to help your team flourish. And for the job seekers, HR Kyle provides personalized career guidance and direction that only a seasoned HR professional can offer. We'll help you find that perfect job match. Don't settle for less. Choose HR Kyle and unlock success today. Visit us at www.hrkyle.com. HR Kyle, unlocking potential, empowering careers, transforming business. Welcome back, podcast enthusiasts. I hope you enjoyed that brief interlude. Now let's dive straight into segment 1, where the tables turn and I take on the role of the interviewee. So you've submitted some fantastic questions, and today I'll be sharing a bit more about my journey in the world of human resources. From challenges to triumphs, let's explore the HR Kyle behind the microphone. At this point, I'm turning the show over to Nathan, and I'm moving over to the hot seat. Nathan, it's all yours.
Hello, I'm Nathan, a high school senior from the Midwest. Let's now answer some of the questions that our listeners might have for HR Kyle. First, what inspired you to venture into the field of human resources, and how has your journey shaped your approach to HR practices?
Now, that's a great question. I love telling this story. I was in undergrad working towards my bachelor's degree in psychology. And at a point, I came to the kind of a crossroads, I guess you could say, where I needed to make a decision. Was I going to go more the academic route with psychology, or was I going to go the business route? And for me, the decision was pretty easy. I chose the business route. I had actually worked for a few years and had previously attained an associate degree in business. So I felt drawn to the business world and the difference I could make there. So I chose to go the business route with psychology. I attained my bachelor's degree, immediately went for my master's degree with a focus in HR management and organizational development. But what I've found over the years is that psychology degree, that ability to take the time to understand people and what is important to them, to be a good listener, to bring out those empathetic skills and that general nature that I have to be more empathetic has really served me well as a human resources practitioner and professional.
Okay, HR Kyle, I think that's a great answer to question one. I say now we move on to question two. Here it is. As a speaker, you've shared insights on various HR topics. Can you highlight a key message or lesson you believe is crucial for professionals in the industry?
Yeah, another great question from our audience. I've got a few that stand out in my mind. The one that I share frequently is the fact that life is a team game. And what that means is no matter what your role is, no matter what your function is, your success depends on the success of others. And I firmly believe that. And that's a lesson that I always try to pass on to any person that I'm working with, whether it's a leader in an organization or someone that's searching for their next job opportunity, or maybe they're searching for their dream job. That they need to remember that their success ultimately relies on the success of others. And I think if we approach our work and our daily lives that way, I think one, will be more happy, but secondly, we'll be much more successful. So that's certainly one lesson that I pass on to others that I work with. The other item that I talk about quite frequently is the ability to be resilient. And this comes out in a lot of the training that I provide, the fact that you're going to have ups and downs, whether you're a new professional in the workplace, you've been around for a while, you're towards the end of your career, you've gotten a promotion, whatever that scenario is, that event that's taking place in your work life, you're going to have ups and downs. And I think all of us can do really well if things are going well, but when we have those setbacks or those challenges, how do we handle that? Do we have the resiliency to work through those situations, to learn from them, to realize that we will bounce back, and then to make that happen? So resiliency is something that I talk about a lot with the clients and so on that I work with, that they need to practice and focus on and build those skills about being resilient. So those are really, Nathan, a couple of lessons that I think are crucial to any professional in any industry.
I completely agree with that, and not only professional, definitely with the resilience personal life as well. I think that can be really important to people.
Yeah, great point. Because honestly, there's no separating your personal and professional life. We like to think, gosh, we go into work and I leave my personal behind, and when I leave work, I can turn the personal life on again. No, that doesn't happen. That's not realistic. So you're exactly right. That resiliency will serve you well through your entire life, whether it's in the workplace, at your home, working through transitions, whatever that situation that you're working through.
I think that's a great point and a great answer to question number two. Now for question number three, which is your books delve into HR and related topics. Now, could you share a sneak peek into one of your favorite concepts or stories from your publications?
Yeah, great question too. Here in January, so January of 2024, I have my first book coming out. It's the first of what will be a series of books that'll come out in 2024 and beyond. But the first one is titled "Recruiting is Easy," and the byline of that is "If you take the sales and marketing approach." So I'm a firm believer that if you want to be effective at talent attraction, you need to take that approach, realizing that it's all about sales and marketing. It's about building and nurturing that employment brand. It's about building relationships with your customers, or in this case, job seekers, either current or future, and really building that pipeline of candidates. I think in the ideal situation and what you're working towards, and what I talk about in the book, is having a situation where you're not searching for candidates. All you're simply doing is having opportunities and going through your current candidates to see who the best fit is. And even in my current role, I've had situations where I can literally fill a job within a week. And that means from job opening to setting up interviews to interviewing to debriefing to making an offer and receiving an acceptance, all happening within a week because of this approach to where you have candidates that you've already built a relationship with. And when an opportunity becomes available, you're simply reaching out to those candidates that would be best qualified for that opportunity and making a decision there. So if I'm giving you a sneak peek, that's one of the biggest ones, is fostering that employment brand and working through ways to make it so recruiting is in fact easy, like the title of the book says. So again, that book's coming out in January of 2024. After that, my plan is to have a series of books around the theme that HR is easy. So I'll be talking about other HR topics as well. And if you want a sneak peek there, one of the biggest messages is I think as a professional, you need to be much more proactive. I've got a saying as it relates to employee relations, and big problems always started out as small ones. Again, there's a little bit of a sneak peek into my mindset, more importantly to your question, the theme behind some of the books, and that is being proactive. But I take my profession very seriously as an HR professional. It's not something that I do Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. I was talking with someone today, and I told them, I'm always working. This is 24/7. This is something that's important to me that I have a passion for. I think that I'm good at it, good being effective. I like what I do. I like talking about it. That's why I've created the podcast. That's why I've written the books and so on. But that's a sneak peek not only into the books, but even a further sneak peek into who I am and what motivates me to pursue some of the interests that I do and to work with people the way that I do.
Well, I think that is a great sneak peek into your book, and I can say I'm definitely excited to read that one and hopefully the ones after.
Great.
Now let's move on to question number 4 from our listeners.
Okay.
So, in the ever-evolving landscape of human resources, what trends or changes do you foresee shaping the future of the industry, and how do you think professionals can prepare for them?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. We're really starting to see one of these changes already, and that's the use of artificial intelligence. I make no secret that I rely on ChatGPT quite often. It doesn't replace what I do because it does still require the right kind of inputs and to be accurate in the inputs that I'm providing and being detailed enough and so on. But at a minimum, it provides me another reference point on maybe the things that I'm thinking about or that I'm considering. So for me, it's providing in some ways a sounding board in some cases. So I think artificial intelligence, will see more and more of that, not only in human resources, but in other facets of business and leadership as well. The other thing that I think we're going to see more of, and this may sound ironic at first based upon that first response that I gave, but I think we're going to see more of a focus on people interactions, one-on-one interactions. There's been a big focus in HR over the last 25 years or so in using technology, leveraging that in HR management and recruiting and all the different facets of HR. But one thing I think we've gotten a little bit too far away from is that relationship building, focusing on that, whether it's with our employees or whether it's with candidates and so on. And again, that was one of the motivations behind my book that I mentioned, the Recruiting is Easy book. And again, it's one of the motivations behind some of the other books as well, that I think we're probably getting a little bit too far away from what our bread and butter is in human resources, and that is the first word, human. Making those human contacts, making those human connections, and how that can serve us so well and so effectively in all the aspects of human resources that we perform on a day-to-day basis.
Well, I think those are some great answers, especially ChatGPT, such a great invention, incredibly helpful to professionals. And I also agree with the personal connections that you said that you talked about. I think that's very important for growing any sort of relationship. Well, that wraps up our listeners' questions. HR Kyle, thank you for letting us know just a little bit more about you.
Well, great. Nathan, I want to thank you for filling in as our guest. And actually, for the listeners out there, this was a little bit of a preview for segment 2 because Nathan is going to stick with us in segment 2, and he's going to be on the hot seat, and I'm going to turn the tables on him, and I'm going to have some tough questions for him. So other than that, that wraps up segment 1. A big thank you to my guest host, Nathan, and to you, our listeners, for those insightful questions. I really enjoyed sharing my experiences with you. Well, stay with us because, as I mentioned, segment 2, we're going to shift gears a little bit. Nathan's going to stick around, but we're going to switch seats here. And as Nathan kicked us off, he's a high school senior, and he's going to be offering a fresh perspective on the ever-evolving job search landscape. So let's take a moment, stretch, grab a snack, and get ready for an eye-opening discussion. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back after a short break. Are you a business owner looking to build a thriving team? Or perhaps a job seeker on a quest for your dream career? Look no further than HR Kyle. HR Kyle is your trusted partner for all things human resources. We're not just about services, we're about success. For businesses, HR Kyle offers tailored HR solutions from talent acquisition to compliance support. We're here to help your team flourish. And for the job seekers, HR Kyle provides personalized career guidance and direction that only a seasoned HR professional can offer. We'll help you find that perfect job match. Don't settle for less. Choose HR Kyle and unlock success today. Visit us at www.hrkyle.com. HR Kyle, unlocking potential, empowering careers, transforming business. Well, welcome back to the HR Kyle podcast, where we're about to jump into segment 2 of today's episode. I hope you're refreshed and ready because this is going to be an insightful conversation. In segment 2, we're joined by a fantastic guest, a high school senior bringing a unique perspective to the table. We'll be diving into what job searching looks like from the viewpoint of someone just starting their journey into the professional world. Now, I really don't need to officially introduce my guest because he took over the HR Kyle podcast in segment 1. Hello, Nathan. I'm glad you stuck with us for segment 2.
Well, thank you, HR Kyle, for having me on the podcast today. I'm really excited.
Now, we're glad to have you, and you did a wonderful job on segment 1. So this should be easy for you for segment 2.
Yeah, thank you.
Nathan, let's start off with what I consider the best opening question, and that is, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, as I've said, I'm a high school senior from the Midwest. I'm involved in multiple clubs in my school, honors programs such as National Honor Society, which is well known all throughout the U.S., as well as Mu Alpha Theta, which is an honors math program. In addition to those clubs, I'm also a member of the tennis team at my school, where I'm a team captain. I was a team captain my junior year, and I will also be a team captain for my senior year. Also, besides my personal life at school, I do have a professional life. I currently work at a local car wash, but I will be transferring over to a new job at a Panera near me. And besides that, I am also a young entrepreneur. Last year, around January, I started a social media marketing business. I took a break from that for a little bit at the end of my junior year and started that back up in August of my senior year. And since then, I've been working on that, growing that company, having client meetings, reaching out to potential clients and such. So I definitely learned a lot from that.
Wonderful. You keeping yourself busy, Nathan, and you're certainly getting some really good work experience even this early in your professional career. So I'm glad to hear that from you. With that in mind, what are you learning about what is important to you in a job?
Well, since I've worked at my current job for a year and a half, and I've just kind of learned the importance of not only stability within the company, but also turnover, I think is a big issue, especially in like high quantities. In my job that I currently work at, we've had a lot of turnover within management, part-time employees, full-time employees, and I think that's one of the reasons why I'm switching jobs, actually. So I've definitely learned that from my work experience. Also, from building my social media marketing company, I have definitely learned that I want to own my own business. So I'm really excited to keep doing that and growing that business into my future.
Now, two very good examples, Nathan, and you mentioned about the cost of turnover, and you're exactly right. Those employees who remain after experiencing that high turnover, that creates a very unstable work environment for them as well. And you're an example of that, to where lived through that turnover, especially at the leadership levels, and it's made you less engaged and interested in your job as well. So another point to the leaders out there listening in that the effect of turnover isn't to just productivity and safety issues and so on. It also directly impacts your ability to retain other qualified employees. So Nathan, talk to us a little bit more about the work experience you think that you're gaining right now. I really want to hear about that.
So yeah, I've learned a lot from the job that I'm at right now. One of those things, continuing with that turnover and how that affects the company, is how much it affects workplace morale. I found that that is extremely, extremely important, in any professional setting. I mean, if you don't have employees that are happy to come to work, happy to be doing the things that they need to get done in their job, those things aren't going to get done. You're going to have people skipping work, falling behind in chores, and things like that. So I think that's definitely a really, really big issue that I've seen. Another thing I've definitely learned, that you had talked about in one of your questions, was the interpersonal relationships. And this kind of goes along with the workplace morale. Um, a little bit different though. So with those interpersonal relationships, it's really important to keep those strong, because what I found with one of the new site leads at my car wash is, him and I do not have a great relationship, and because of that, he's one of the big reasons that I am leaving my job right now. He's not friendly. He's just difficult to talk to and work with in general. And that's not only me having issues, but also my other employees that have left and are thinking about leaving the job currently.
Very valid points. And we've got a saying in my world, Nathan, that people don't necessarily leave jobs, but they oftentimes leave bosses. And that's exactly what you're describing. The job hasn't changed over the period of time that you've been there. But what has changed is the boss and the environment that, in this case, he has created. It's made it less appealing to work there. And not only are you feeling that effect, but everyone else is feeling it there too. And you're exactly right. A big part of that leadership dynamic is the leader's ability to effectively relate to and connect with their employees. And we talked about that in a prior episode where we talked about being an effective leader. And those relationships are so integral to having an effective team and maintaining retention and driving for higher results and more perfection in the work that we do. And again, the opposite is exactly what you're describing. People are leaving, they're less engaged, they miss more time at work, there's probably more accidents, the facility doesn't look as nice. All of those things happen as a result of a poor boss. And it's amazing how one person can have that effect, but as you've just spoken to, they certainly do.
Yes, exactly.
Nathan, how have your experiences so far shaped your career goals, and how do you think you'll manage your career as you start college?
Well, definitely what I've learned from starting my own business is that, as I said, I want to own my own. I've enjoyed working for some of the bosses that I have worked for at the car wash, but I really work well kind of for myself. I enjoy kind of setting my own hours, deciding what I'm going to do for myself in a day. And I'm definitely disciplined enough to not just slack on certain days, or not get done what I need to get done during that day. So I think that's definitely one of the ways I'll manage it. And as I go into college, I will be majoring in marketing and business to continue with the business that I've started with social media marketing.
Well, Nathan, you bring up some good points there. And again, I think good lessons for professionals at any stage in life. And that is keeping yourself motivated, keeping yourself disciplined enough, and then finally knowing your goals and continuing to drive to them. Whether you're working for someone currently and your goal is to have your own business like you've talked about, or you're someone that's content and to work for someone else and build something with a group of people. Those lessons remain the same. It's still about being driven, having goals, being disciplined enough to drive to those goals. So those are some wonderful lessons that you're learning and that you're mastering at a young age. With that in mind, Nathan, that really sets us up for the last question of this segment. What are some lessons that you would pass along to others about work and exploring your career interest?
Well, that's a great question. I think definitely the biggest lesson I've learned, not only at my place of work, but also in school and in my outside of school and work, is the importance of making connections. About a month and a half ago at my school, we had a career fair, and around 60 to 70 professionals came in and talked to the kids about what they did in a day, how they got into their career, what they liked about their job, what they don't like about their job, things like that. And I think that was really a great experience for the students. And I know that it was a great experience for me. I went there and I gave out some of my business cards and made connections with people on LinkedIn that I have talked to since then. So I think definitely making connections has been extremely important for me. And I think it is extremely, extremely important for anyone in their professional life. Another lesson I would say is trying out different hobbies and activities. A great thing about my school is that they have a lot of clubs and a lot of sports that you can partake in. And a lot of those clubs and sports kind of work together so that you can do a lot of things. So I've been able to try out a lot of different things, uh, clubs, activities, sports, and such, and find out what I really like to do and what I really want to do in my future. So I think that's definitely been a great opportunity to just explore those different interests and build some skills. Also, continuing with skill building, definitely another important lesson is going outside your comfort zone to build the skills that may be weak. I mean, not only growing skills that, you're already great. Let's say you're already great at public speaking, and then you continue to go and speak at public events and get better and better at that. But let's say you're not great at sales. It is extremely important to still go outside of your comfort zone to hone in on those skills, because you're most likely going to have to use those in some professional setting no matter what job you have. So I think definitely going outside of your comfort zone to build skills is very, very important for anybody looking to succeed in the professional world.
Well, Nathan, that's extremely solid advice, and appreciate you sharing your insights and the things you've learned. I need to warn my listeners that Nathan is in fact only 17 and he is a senior in high school, because listening to that from even my seat, I had to remind myself that you are in fact only 17 and still in high school. You've learned some lessons that professionals in some cases take 20 or 25 years to learn, and you've learned those in very short order. So kudos to you, and I think the future is very bright for you as you continue to grow and expand your career and do some of the things that you have planned for your future. And I'm glad you joined us today.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that you had me on the show. I am extremely grateful to have been able to interview you, find out more about you and your journey into your human resources. And I appreciate the questions that you asked me and just your kind words in general.
Well, Nathan, you're very welcome. And folks, that's a wrap for segment 2. And again, a huge thank you to Nathan for sharing his valuable insights and shedding light on the perspective of a high school senior entering the job market. Truly eye-opening. As we bring this episode to a close, I want to express my gratitude to each and every one of you for tuning in. Your questions, engagement, and support mean the world to me. Remember, the HR Kyle podcast is all about navigating the intricate paths of HR and careers, and your journey is a vital part of that narrative. Keep exploring, keep learning, and stay tuned for more exciting episodes. And until next time, this is HR Kyle signing off. Take care, and may your professional journey be filled with success and fulfillment. Well, that's a wrap for today's episode of the HR Kyle podcast. We hope you found our discussion valuable and filled with insights that you can apply in your professional journey. Whether you're a business leader aiming to foster a thriving workplace or a job seeker looking to carve out your own path, remember that HR Kyle is the compass that can guide you towards success. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and share it with your network. We're committed to being your trusted source for HR wisdom, and we look forward to having you back with us for our next episode. Remember, in the world of HR and professional growth, there's always room for progress. Be sure to visit our website at hrkyle.com. That's hrkyle.com to learn more about how we can help you meet your business and professional goals. So until next time, this is HR Kyle signing off. Stay motivated, stay informed, and keep reaching for those career goals. Music provided by bensound.com. That's bensound.com.